let's watch the new Gigguk video. That's what we're actually here for right now, right?
You either die an anime fan, or you live long enough to see yourself become a manga reader. Sun Tzu, God of War Ragnarok.
It's true. That Sun Tzu from God of War Ragnarok did say
Maybe you've only started watching anime, maybe even watching it for years.
Oh my god, dude. Did Gigguk have a lolly in his thumbnail? A lolly in his thumbnail? Oh my god. That was a joke. That was a joke. There's nothing wrong with lollies. Lolly porn, that's weird.
Maybe you don't even watch anime anymore, but you still watch these videos. What the hell are you still doing here? Eventually, we all reach that point where there you are, watching that anime, talking about how much you're enjoying that anime, and then there'll be that one dickhead friend who will rise up and go,
yeah.
Why are you watching the anime? Just read the manga, bro. It's so much better. And maybe out of pure spite, you go ahead and read it, just so for once in your life, you can shut that guy up. But when you do, you realize, fuck. I'm friends with a dickhead. The manga was better is a phrase that's become synonymous with our community to the point where it's inescapable. But how much weight does it actually hold? What makes a good adaptation?
Okay, it's weird, because sometimes it's just true, and sometimes it's just not.
What makes a bad adaptation? Is the manga actually better? Is your friend really a dickhead? Yes. You know who isn't? Today's sponsor, Bespoke Post. Gentlemen and ladies, do you like cool stuff? Of course.
Do you like cool stuff? That is how you do a sponsored segment. Do you like cool stuff? Because no one's gonna say no. Tokyo Ghoul, One Piece, Berserk, the manga was better, all right? Then there's sometimes where it's not. Demon Slayer, Hunter x Hunter, you know, those. So there you go. You got some better, some it's not. It's like a pretty basic term.
The topic of manga and anime adaptations is a long and nuanced discussion that's been had so many times in our community that I don't even know where I can even begin.
Oh, this hurts.
Like Godwin's law, every conversation you have about manga adaptations will eventually lead you one step closer to mentioning Berserk. You have arguably the greatest manga at your fingertips and one of the greatest stories ever told. So surely, if you just stick to the source material, no matter how it looks, can an adaptation that stays completely faithful to the story and characters still be bad?
The Black Swordsman, you!
Oh, that hurts.
Yes.
Oh,
Berserk
painful.
2016 is the benchmark
suffering.
of everything that can go wrong in an adaptation. It's the boogeyman other mangas tell each other when they're sitting around at the campfire. If you're a bad boy, the Berserk monster is going to come visit your animation studio. No, Daddy, please. I've been a good boy. Please, give me a good adaptation. Yeah, well, tell that to Promised Neverland over there. But adaptations don't nearly need to be as bad in this order of magnitude for the manga to be better. In fact, Berserk has not had one, not two, but 3 chances to get it right, with all of them having their own shortcomings we see with a lot of other adaptations. The movies had updated animations, some beautiful scenes, but sacrificed precious time building up its cast of characters. So many anime have had
a movie can only do so well when they're adapting so much material.
Bruv, okay, we only have a certain amount of runtime, so do we focus on those big climactic moments or a quiet scene with the characters? Fuck it, get rid of all those quiet parts, not realizing that it's those nuanced character scenes that make those big moments hit so hard in the first place. Ironically, the best adaptation Berserk got was its first one, which is only really...
like, one thing that's very important when it comes to adaptations is if you're adapting a movie, it's very difficult because you have so many chapters that you need to cram into one movie. So movie adaptations are almost always rushed. Like, you'll never have the quiet moments because a movie needs to just bang.
Held back by a fuck you cliffhanger ending and animation that can rival a PowerPoint presentation. It's still a really good anime.
Dude, it was 1997, cut this slack.
Because, well, it's fucking Berserk. But here's the real question. Can I definitively say that even though this is a good anime, it does enough to warrant a watch over just solely reading the masterpiece of the manga? Well, yes, because
the
again,
music
some of
is
the
amazing.
best dub outtakes of all time.
All right, who's gonna jerk me off?
Sometimes I ask...
I love the dub sometimes. The dub is just better. Like, for example, the dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, it makes Yu-Gi-Oh! GX better. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX English dub is the best way you could watch it. Sometimes it's just like that. But the reason why you should watch Berserk is the music is unbelievable. It's a soundtrack that you'll always cry listening to that soundtrack.
Ask myself, if an anime follows a manga one-to-one and all it does is add music, color,
Dude, I love how many Yu-Gi-Oh! References he has.
and voice acting, is that enough to call it a good adaptation? And for me, that answer is no. If I watch the first episode and I see that all you're doing is adding a generic soundtrack and mediocre animation, fuck it. I'm just gonna go read the manga and say I watched the anime. Don't lie to me, I know you've done the same. Look man, I'm a grown-ass adult now with grown-ass responsibilities, and we know reading manga is basically watching anime, except you can do it way faster. To me,
And you could do it while playing Genshin Impact.
Anime really needs to do something above average to warrant a watch because so many come in with the philosophy of being a glorified advert for the source material anyway. That's why seasonal
That's true. There's so many anime out there that's just meant to promote the manga.
anime have low-key become a manga recommendation platform for me for those shows that I find catch my interest but just have completely bog standard production values. If you're wondering how I go through so much isekai, that's the secret. And on top of that, before an adaptation can even be good, there are so many things it has to avoid to be bad.
True. Oh. See, Naruto's not so bad though because you could just skip those filler episodes. Like that's okay. You could just watch it with a filler guide and skip the filler episodes. The One Piece anime, on the other hand, they put filler in the middle of important episodes. Like you'll have a plot episode and they'll put filler into it. Like what, dude? Why would you do this?
Long-running anime had this obsession with staying on air for as long as possible, but every franchise would run into the same problem of catching up to the current manga it was based on. Their solution? Let's just make them do a bunch of stupid bullshit. Back when I first watched Naruto, even my dumbass 12-year-old brain registered something was off when I was like, why did Naruto go from chasing Sasuke to becoming a giant robot? Does no one here have any urgency about what just happened?
Dude, I am disappointed. The giant robot scenes were in Shippuden. They were not in the original Naruto chasing Sasuke scenes. No, in the original chasing Sasuke scenes, there were other ones, like the beetle that could smell Sasuke's scent. The first scent that it smells, it'll follow. So Naruto accidentally, he spends a whole arc chasing that beetle, finally catches the beetle, and accidentally farts on it, so it only smells his butt for the rest of the show. Now that is some filler. Ninja ostrich. That's what I want to hear. I want to see Naruto fight some ostriches in Mortal Kombat.
I discovered the concept of filler episodes. Thankfully, modern day anime has realized now that basically everyone skipped filler episodes anyway, but where it gets really messy is when the filler starts getting integrated into normal episodes. And I hate to
hold up. I don't think Gigguk ever watched Gintama.
wait, but where it gets
Gintama reference. This is a Gintama reference.
really messy is when the filler starts getting integrated into normal episodes. And I hate to do this.
Thank you for mentioning One Piece, how they do that, dude. Naruto is skippable filler. One Piece, you have to sit through all of it, based Giga.
One of my favorite franchises of all time, but that's the reason I stopped watching One Piece.
Yeah.
The One Piece anime is something I hold dear to my heart.
It's so
but
good.
after a certain point, the anime just became unfucking watchable for me. I'd noticed several episodes in a row would have a 5-minute recap of stuff I literally just saw. They'd keep cutting to characters nobody gave a shit about to do a scene
How dare you? Sanji versus Noodle Guy was a masterpiece of a battle.
that doesn't fucking matter. Pacing was murdered by characters constantly pausing and having extended stare-offs where absolutely nothing was achieved except padding out the runtime. This is when filler ceases to be just a minor inconvenience you can skip to something that actively hurts the viewing experience just so you can stretch out the material you have as far as possible. And so, I started reading the manga and never looked back since.
Well, that is the based take with One Piece. The One Piece, you gotta read the manga.
Manga readers have this obsession with getting a perfectly faithful adaptation, and it's easy to understand why. We've seen Promised Neverland Season 2, we've seen Tokyo Ghoul Route A, we've seen what happens when an anime looks at a manga and goes, no, I'm actually gonna do my own thing now, bye bye, fuck you. Anime original endings, shows that completely rush through the source material, the list goes on.
Don't even show me Promised Neverland. Oh, I just threw up a little bit. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Oh, you're gonna show Promised Neverland. Oh, Promised Neverland. How could they have done that to Promised Neverland? It hurts me to this day. To this day, I suffer over Promised Neverland, dude. Oh, huge F in the chat. What a letdown, that adaptation. God.
Because of this, it feels like there's a pressure to stick as closely to the manga as possible, but is being 100% faithful always the best way to go? The Boys is a great example of this. It took a violent, edgy for edge's sake comic and reworked it to be a modern satire of superheroes and commercialization, making it a far more interesting product than it ever was.
That was diabolical.
But anime has also done similar things. K-On!
The Boys is literally a masterpiece. It's literally a modern classic.
Formed a 4-koma manga into a coherent, ongoing storyline with a bit of music sprinkled in that became one of the most beloved slice-of-life anime to ever come out. Devilman Crybaby did.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Have you seen the original
Devilman Crybaby is a great example.
Devilman at all? Being faithful, while proving to be a stable route to success, can sometimes be a shackle if the anime is just trying to take every panel, every scene, and putting them on the screen. Because what I think we don't see enough is what it means to adapt to anime itself. Manga has a lot of strengths as a medium. You turn the page of a Junji Ito horror manga and it's effectively a jump scare.
Damn.
You're greeted with this detailed, horrific imagery that will haunt your nightmares, gruesome drawings that'll seep into your unconscious, never to leave your memories again. And in the anime, it's like...
No, that hurts. I never watched
Transforming a
Jujutsu.
manga-
I never watched the anime. But like, there are some situations where the adaptations improve upon the source material. I think a lot.
Good to anime doesn't mean just adding movement. You need to know what works for anime and vice versa. You know, it's easy to show you a
Yeah, that was a great example. Silent Voice had a great adaptation. So did Your Name.
panel of Mob Psycho 100 than a scene from
Dude, One Punch Man season 1. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Mob Psycho. God, Mob Psycho is such a good example.
the anime
too.
and be like, I wonder what's the best way to experience this story. But I think it goes deeper than just animation equals good, because what I think is
Yeah.
more important is capturing the soul of the original while translating it to what works best for film. And to make my point, we need to talk about something entirely different. Light novels. You can almost always tell
Ooh.
within 5 minutes when a show is adapting from a light novel as opposed to a manga. Characters aren't afraid to go on overly indulgent internal monologues. There will be long scenes of nothing but just dialogue between 2 or more characters with almost nothing visually interesting going on. Character A is talking, okay, cut to character A standing still and talking. Character B starts talking, okay, cut to
True.
character B. A is
There we
talking
go.
again, okay, cut back to A, then B again, then A.
なんかラノベみたいだな。
It all feels
Dude, that's you just described Overlord. How did he do that?
so rigid, like an AI program looked at the script and went, okay, plot understood, here are your storyboards. And only in the rarest moments does it feel like any thought was put into the visual aspect beyond the dramatic scenes and action moments. Cut to manga adaptations, boom, instantly, dialogue is used more sparingly. You normally get a sense there's a bigger emphasis on visual storytelling, which makes sense because did you know?
Manga's a visual medium.
Manga has visuals.
Sorry, just got very whacked out there.
Of course there are exceptions, but on a whole, anime based on manga often feel very different to anime based on light novels because the source material is always written or drawn with their original medium in mind. But shouldn't the anime take this into account? You look at a dynamic shot like this and you immediately feel, alright, now this is an anime original production not bound to any manga. But way more anime could do things that are suited only for anime, like one of the big things where manga can falter, it's in the action. I'm sure we've all read that one manga where there's that big epic fight
And you don't
happening.
know what's
Punches
happening
are being
at
thrown,
all.
swords are swinging, shit is hitting the metaphorical fan, and you're like, I can't tell what's going on. Subtle movements in intense action scenes can easily get lost on a still page, so manga needs to compensate by portraying big, clearly defined actions so the reader doesn't lose track of what's going on or just have a bloody monologue explain it. Take a look at this live action choreographed fight scene. This one's a favorite of mine. You have 2 guys fighting, the protagonist and the big boss, and the big boss is always just one step ahead. The man has counters for counters of your counters, and this is all conveyed in split seconds. No explanation, you can see what's going on. Now, if this was a manga, this fight would be like, okay, what he's gonna do is throw a mid kick to my left, so what I'm gonna do is catch his kick, then elbow his leg so he can't kick anymore. And the other guy would be like, haha, fool, I'll just bend my leg at the last second, blocking his elbow and nullifying his attack. Oh no, he blocked my elbow. Well, in that case,
This
what I
is
do
really
next
well
is-
put
The great
together,
thing
bro.
about anime is
That was really well put together, dude. A1, homie.
these rules do not apply. So why is it that almost every adaptation pretends that it doesn't? More often than not, anime fights of a manga have the pacing of the manga fight. The framing looks exactly the same. Actions get explained even if we can clearly convey it through movement. Now, unless you're embracing the chaos like JoJo or Baki, you shouldn't always need to do
Dude, I love when JoJo does it. It's part of the meme at this point where you see JoJo just sitting there like, oh, I knew he was going to do that, so I, like, he could control rods. Dude, I'm watching the new JoJo's Part 6, the new episodes. I didn't finish it yet. Dude, I love it so much when it's like, oh, he can control rods that must be absorbed towards heat, so I will simply touch the back of my neck in order to warm it down so that it's like, okay, dude.
this. Part of the reason I love the Hanami fight from Jujutsu Kaisen is that it strikes that perfect balance of explaining Todo's power but
That was
still
good.
showing
That was the highlight for me of Jujutsu Kaisen. That was
it has
amazing.
on the opponent. But there doesn't even need to be any complex action going on. Ufotable looked at Demon Slayer and went, okay, this fight isn't too complicated, so how much can we push the climax of this
Yeah,
one
that's
part?
what I said right at the beginning. Demon Slayer adaptation is unbelievable.
How much can we raise the bar of hype and excitement to build towards this one moment? And that resulted in a scene with one of the highest visual spectacles anime has seen. This was one of the moments that defined this year of anime, and this incredible, this out-of-the-world scene was 5 fucking panels in the manga. I mean, look at this. There was a whole panel explaining Uzui's sound power, and they went, no, we don't need this bullshit. This will just mess up with the pacing. We can show this visually. And then proceeded to turn this into...
Dude, that is so dope.
Motherfuckers might as well have just turned water into wine, but this isn't limited to action scenes either. One of my favorite scenes from Naruto comes from a moment with Shikamaru. Spoilers for Naruto Shippuden if
I know, he's gonna mention the Hidan thing.
you still care about that. Shikamaru has just lost his team leader,
Yeah,
and
dude,
they're
that
all
scene
in the
was
process
awesome.
of mourning. Randomly, his father invites him to play a game of shogi, which isn't too unusual for the two of them, and in 2 minutes of one single unbroken shot, his father slowly lectures him during the game. He's finally allowed to mourn. This scene is amazing. It's a masterclass of cinematography and visual storytelling, and it is not in the manga at all. Yeah.
No way. I only started reading the Naruto manga after this.
By the technical definition, this is actually filler. It's shit like this like anime. A scene like this would have never worked as well in manga form, but with a different approach, you can take what a manga tried to convey and translate into something only anime can do. Berserk, Vagabond, Uzumaki, Goodbye Eri. These masterpieces of manga work so well because they are manga and fully utilize their medium to the highest potential. You can turn to some of these panels and it feels like a painting. You can pause the page, analyze every little detail, every single scratch of the pen the artist etched into this page. You can take that moment to just take it all in and marvel in the moment for as long as you need. And in the anime, it's like, oh, hey, that's a pretty background, it's gone. This is just an inherent difference in the medium, and the only chance an anime will ever get to adapting these works well is if it can actually play to the strengths of its own medium, rather than trying to emulate the strengths of another, which is so goddamn rare.
It's a good
Is
video.
the manga better? Honestly, yes. Most of the time. So many more things can go wrong before they go right. You need to have the right production, the right resources, the right time to make a good adaptation, and even then, if it doesn't do enough to go above and beyond, a lot of us are probably going to end up picking up the manga anyway. But the reason I'll never stop being an anime watcher completely is because when an adaptation does get it right, anime can elevate a manga to heights it could never reach by itself. When you get a truly special adaptation that you get to experience.
Dude, Made in Abyss, the music, Made in Abyss. So I read the Made in Abyss manga. The Made in Abyss anime is better. The Made in Abyss anime is better than the manga. It just conveys it with the voice acting and the music. It gives off the feel so much more.
For the first time on screen, it is a magical experience I will never stop chasing, no matter how many mediocre adaptations I need to sit through. And the guy's still a dickhead.
Oh, Attack on Titan's another good example of where the anime is better. The anime is just better than the manga in Attack on Titan. I don't know if I would say manga is better than anime. At the end of the day, I love this video. This was a really good video by Mr. Gigguk. Good job, homie. I applaud thee. This was a good video. Hell yeah. But at the end of the day, personally, it's a total coin flip. I think anime can be higher heights sometimes, but also, no matter how good the anime adaptation is, you'll never get those Berserk panels. You'll never get those Vagabond panels. You'll never get the Murata One Punch Man panels either. I know that One Punch Man Season 1 was good, but those Murata panels are just unbelievable. You'll never get those Junji Ito panels. It totally depends on the situation and how much love was put into it. I approve. This was a good video there. This was a really good video. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.